तदेव रूपस्थं कर्म साक्षी विघ्नकृत यावत् कर्म समाप्ति स्यात् तावत् त्वं सुस्थिरो भव.
Start with it.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Very, very happy to welcome Swami Bhaktatmananda to this area again. And I'm particularly happy that the people here are increasing in number. And this is, it is responsible for a connection between the Guru and the Shishya. This is very important. And of course, the volunteers have done a good job of choosing, I think, a good format over the weekend for the retreat, and also the promotion and so on. So, very, very happy about all of this. My thoughts go back to 1966, when I had the privilege of welcoming Puja Swami Dayanandji to this area for the first time.
Wow.
And I remember this, there were 3 of us that arranged for his talks in one of the rooms at Stanford University. Because I had already attended a 2-week retreat with him before that, and we requested him to come. So he says, please, I'll be happy to come. And that hall was perhaps half the size of this. So we were hoping that we did a lot of promotion. We were hoping that it would be about 50, 60 people. There were 15 people. And it was, and of course, we were disappointed, but Swamiji said, don't be disappointed. This happens, this slowly happens. 2 years later, in the same venue, we had 500 people at Stanford. And I remember those days where it was a learning experience. Puja Swamiji always used to say that Vedanta is not for the masses. There are just a few people that can see the value of it. And this is why, for example, he does not encourage Vedantic talks to be held in temples, because the people that go to temples are slightly different. They are all wonderful people, but to go to Vedanta is not quite the same. I remember those lessons that we learned from him. Anyway, I'm very, very happy that Swamiji is here. But the other thing that really I'm very hopeful for, when we built the teaching of Swami Dayanandji, and then subsequently to that with Swami Vidyatmananda, Swami Tattvavidananda, many of you participated in that, there was quite a bit of enthusiasm. And I was very lucky to have a relationship with the experienced students. As a householder teacher, I was able to do that. But this is the fact of life. that for new people, a Swami is much more important. Because they will look at you and say, this guy is good, but then I don't know, he's not a Swami. So they don't normally come. So this is why, for the last few years, we haven't had a lot of new people. And I'm really happy that Swamiji has now come to this area a few times. A sannyasi is a very important person in people's lives. We have a wonderful tradition. All of us are from India, most of us are from India. And when you see a sannyasi, you immediately have a certain respect for that person. There is something about the sannyasi because they gave up a lot to adopt this. There must be something. Out of the sannyasis, a teaching sannyasi is even more respectful and rare. And out of the teaching sannyasis, ones that have had a sampradayik connection with Mahatmas, like we have always been lucky with Pujya Swamiji, Swami Chidananji and so on, is even more rare. It's not an easy vidya. And it requires years of study, of sitting at the feet of the Mahatmas, asking questions and so on, to be able to convey the kind of subtlety that it requires. And so I'm very, very happy that we are now restarting that whole process. And I'm very hopeful that Swamiji also finds it worthwhile his time to come. And I'm very happy that he's here. He's an important person. He's now the resident Acharya at the Sandipani in our ABG. And so it's important that we start a connection with him. I am not going to stay, I came here to welcome him. But I do have a short message for the experienced students, my own students, which is this. There comes a time when you begin to wonder. We are all studying Brahma Vidya. There comes a time, or come one time, but it occurs to us, do I know it or not? I kind of know it because I've studied many, many texts, and I can extract from it the common areas, what is called Tatparya. And so I kind of know it, but I'm not sure. To this, there is, the Shastra says, as in the Mundaka Upanishad, 3.29, I remember that. We should understand this. It says, Brahma Veda Brahma Eva Bhavati. The meaning of that is, the knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. And becomes Brahman is a very interesting, because Bhavati and Asti. You are really Asti, but it appears you are Bhavati. It looks like you are becoming, you already are Brahman, but it looks like you are becoming Brahman. But this is the message I wanted to give. It's possible that in the study of Vedanta, and it's not only possible, it's very likely, that your life becomes happier, well adjusted. You are much more able to deal with life's problems over time. And you become happy. There also comes a time where you may not strive just as much as you did before. Please continue this, because the test of whether you know Brahman or not is when you know you, there is no difference between your Atma and the Brahman. these retreats, these mananams, nididhyasanams are extremely important. And I'm very happy that we have this retreat for the next couple of days. And with that, again, I welcome Swamiji.
Namaste.
And wish you all the good luck. Thank you so much.
Om Vishwandharpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyan Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutai Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodh Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namamidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Bijasyantarivāṅkuro jagadidam prāṅnirvikalpam punaha maya kalpita deshakalakalana vaichitra chitrikrutam māyāvīva vidrumhayatyapi mahayogi vayasvecchaya tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye namamidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namamidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanam Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om. So Nirvana Shatakam is a group of 6 verses, Shatakam. There are Ashtakam, Dashakam. So, group of 6 verses for contemplation. And composed by Adi Shankaracharya ji. Talking about Nirvana. What is Nirvana? Nirvana means freedom from calamities. Vedanta wants to give you freedom. Vedanta assures freedom because you are already free. Vedanta is seeing you a free person. Like the person who was seeing a 10th man in the 9th man. The 10th man was taking himself 9th, but somebody was seeing as a 10th. Vedanta offers freedom at 2 stages. First freedom is freedom from the past. The second freedom is freedom from the concept of past, present, future. First is a past. Vedanta makes you free from past, psychological past. Because generally, no one lives in present. everyone carries the past. Past means not past life, from the childhood. Several things we have. And therefore, we are not able to see the present very objectively. We are all conditioned, prejudiced. And therefore, freedom from basically past, psychological past, freedom from the pressure of one's own likes and dislikes, which has been built from the childhood. So, freedom is always freedom from something undesirable, naturally. And this psychological past basically is undesirable. Our own likes and dislikes haunt all the time. These likes and dislikes are nothing but basically, you can put it in other way, unfulfilled desires. We'll be talking that unfulfilled desires outnumber fulfilled desires at any stage in life, starting from childhood. That unfulfilled desires, those unfulfilled desires, we carry forward all the time. And therefore, even we are living in present as such, but we basically carry all the time past, and it is painful. So present becomes painful because present is nothing but the present but past. And therefore, you already had a pain of the past. In present also you carry that past, becomes more painful. Person becomes more sorrowful. Vedanta gives you freedom from this undesirable psychological past. Freedom from the pressure of likes and dislikes. Not freedom from likes and dislikes. No. There is no need. No need. Freedom from the pressure of likes and dislikes. The pressure creates problem. Likes, dislikes do not create problem. All the issues are of pressure. Anxiety also be built up. Stress is all due to unfulfilled desire also need not create. But desires are not for the fun. No desire is desire for just for the fun. That's wonderful. If desire is for the fun, it is wonderful. But desire all the time haunts you until you fulfill that. That's the pressure create anxiety, stress, anger, everything. Vedanta gives a promise to, we are not going to talk, but I am just saying, Vedanta talks about a freedom, Nirvana. This is the first level of freedom. And that is solution, Yoga Shastra, Karma Yoga, etc. Or Bhagavad Gita talks about it. Anyway, so this is first. And second, as I told you, freedom from the concept of past, present and future. What is it which is freedom from the past, present and future? Well, there is something, because past, present, future is time. So Vedanta talks about the self which is timeless. Gives you the knowledge. So freedom from being a small, inadequate being. That's also undesirable. That individual being which is time bound. So one is subject to disease, death, and here also there is a bondage, because there is always a sense of basically a imperfection, inadequacy in terms of time, place. One is always a wanting being. Wanting being. Physical strength, wanting being. Health, wanting. Psychologically, emotion-wise, wanting. Knowledge-wise, wanting. Memory-wise, wanting. Wealth-wise, wanting. Health-wise, wanting. Wanting. That is called bondage. There is no other samsara. Bondage is samsara. This is the bondage. One takes oneself to be a time-bound being, inadequate being, small being, constantly struggling to get rid of the smallness. Vedanta assures, gives the knowledge of the self, which is a free self. Very concept of time gets resolved. a concept of the time is sustained by the self, gives you the knowledge of that. So, while this bondage is a basic bondage, and it from which I want to be free from, and B, it is very painful. Naturally, this bondage is very painful, very undesirable. So, I do not accept it, and therefore, ultimate freedom is basically this freedom, which is centered on I, because I am the one who take myself to be a bound person, and one who wants to become free also. So, this freedom which Vedanta talks about, there are two options here. This freedom is already intrinsic to the self, or there is no freedom, such kind of a freedom where the self is free, etc. This kind of thing is not at all there. But if such a freedom is there which is intrinsic to the self, well then the bondage is born of merely self-ignorance and error. And so removal of ignorance and thereby the error, etc. is freedom. So Vedanta says, well, self is already free here and now, and it remains free. And so, and that kind of a self is recognized basically as it really is. And so you take yourself, after understanding Vedanta, expose yourself to the teaching, you take yourself to be a free self. That's the ultimate freedom. Could you follow? First freedom is freedom from the psychological past, means freedom from likes and dislikes. And second freedom is, this is the freedom where you understand that you are not a bound. You take yourself to be bound is a error. And so, and that self, well, being identical with the Brahman, cause of the world, therefore basically cause of everything, means it is everything. So self is everything, self is whole, which you experience in the moment of joy. Well, it's not something which Vedanta doesn't talk about, which is beyond experience. We don't want any kind of an extraordinary experience, including experience of samadhi. Our ordinary experiences are enough to give us the knowledge of oneself, because no experience is there without the self being there. But the self is not recognized as it is. You are right now you are seeing me, you are very much there. But you just take yourself to be a seer, a individual being. Well, that's not a proper recognition. So you are the truth of the self, etc., truth of the whole experience, etc., that we'll be talking about. And so this particular knowledge, well, is what is called self-knowledge. I am Brahman, etc., I am whole, etc., is what is meant by freedom. So two stages of freedom. What is freedom? If anybody asks, well, these are two stages of freedom. And this second stage of freedom is called Nirvana. Nirvana means moksha. Moksha means freedom. Freedom means knowing, in spite of the limitations, physical, mental, etc., intellectual limitations, I am a free self. Because I really speaking, I am not this just a body, mind, sense complex. My existence is much more than this. Anyway, so freedom from all blemishes, deficiencies, undesirable thing. And that is not sixfold. Nirvana Shatakam means, well, Swamiji, sixfold deficiencies are there. No. Well, these 6 verses talk about this Nirvana. And Shankaracharya is a very important teacher, as Vijayji also said. He is an important teacher in the line of teachers. He does not claim anything really which belongs to his own contribution, basically. He is an acharya, a teacher of a subject matter which is already there in the Upanishad, and he is of course one of the teachers who, in a lineage, who presents this tradition in a written form, which was an oral tradition before. By writing a bhashan, etc., he brought out this teaching in a written form. Anyway, so when you present this Upanishad, you require the key to open this Upanishad verses, and to get the key to open the verses, you require a certain vision and methodology which Acharya has provided, as Vijayji was mentioning, as a tradition. And what's the message of the Upanishad? All that is here is Ishvara. That's the message. Not all that is here is Maya. Modern Vedantins, I don't want to name the institution, but they say Shankaracharya is a Mayavadi. Shankaracharya is not a Mayavadi, Shankaracharya is the Brahmavadi. If you are not able to see Brahman yourself and everywhere else, then well, there is a Maya, we can say. But basically, what Upanishad talks about is everything is Brahman, and Shankaracharya established it very well. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma also, he explained that. So the whole teaching is meant to be basically meant to open the key for this, that everything is Brahman, everything is God. It's an equation. There is nothing to believe here. In fact, Veda definitely mocks a person who says, I believe in God. Really. God is not to be believed. When it is said, all that is here means this Jagat is God, Ishvara, then it is an equation. Jagat is God, means it's an equation. No equation is a matter to be believed. Any equation is a matter to be analyzed and understood. Even a physics equation, E is equal to mc square, energy is a matter or matter is energy, is not to be believed. It's to be understood. And therefore, Ishvara is not to be believed. It's a wrong thing to say. And if Ishvara is a matter to be believed, you may become non-believer next day. Right? You may become non-believer also. So that's not the case. All that is here is Ishvara. Chidananda Rupa will see that. So basically, it's a matter to be understood. That's how Sanatana Dharma talks about. Anyway, so where there is a belief system, there is no teaching. I have to say, well, everything is God and you believe it and you go. That's it. There is no unfoldment. Nothing is required in that. But if teaching is there, definitely there is. If to understand E is equal to mc squared, maybe the physicist takes lots of classes for the students who want to understand. And therefore, anyway, so if it required, if it requires to be presented to the teachers as a belief system, well, there is no teaching in fact. Anyway, now this Nirvana Shatakam, the lyrics here are not ordinary, it's a teaching, we'll see that. And of course, chants are to be chanted, verses are to be recited, prose is to be basically read, song is to be sung. And here all these verses basically are to be recited. And very fortunately, it is presented in a very musical form. And that is allowed. And that should be proper, of course. So it has to be in a very melodious form, and that gives you a absorption here. Certain melodies are very, very effective when you want to help others find a certain absorption. And we call it as a laya, absorption. And you will always see, they will play also this particular Nirvana Shatakam, anybody sings, you always find a laya. And so, and we should understand it's not the mind basically which gains a laya, but the person gains a absorption. So the whole individual, the thinking individual, the responding person to the world, well, he gets this absorption. Who has anxiety, apprehension, etc., disappointment, regret, etc., that person gets a laya. We always blame the mind. And that mind is one which is having all these issues. It's a person. Mind is not there to be blamed, because it's a continuous thought. When when my hand is moving like this, and you are seeing this hand, then definitely in your mind constant thoughts are there. And therefore mind is which is very kshanikam. It is not there to be blamed for anything. It's the person who owns up the mind, the ego, the ahankara, the individual, is to be blamed, in case if you want to blame. And so that person, well, with this melody, etc., gets a absorption. And well, not only just music, the lyrics are also very, 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 very elevating here, highly meaningful, very revealing. And words, of course, can be revealing if they are known here. And these verses in the Nirvana Shatakam are very positive verses, really amusing, not sympathetic as such, very amusing, but they are very revealing. And well, it reveals a fact that every human being ought to know. Every human being should know this. Not knowing oneself well makes one a problem. Basically, everyone becomes a person to be dealt with. That's how they say. I have to deal with this person, we say. Because the person is a problem. Not knowing the self as such like this, person becomes a problem. Not for others, for oneself also. Therefore, he has to deal with himself also. And he is to be dealt by others also. And he has to deal with the world. So, basically, one should know oneself. So, these lyrics basically reveal who you are. And what you are here, what you are is shown in a one line. And that's a repetitive. That's a fourth line in every verse. And what you are not is in the 3 lines of every verse, first 3 lines, and that is to be understood. What you are is in the 4th line of every verse, repetitive, same thing, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. And the first 3 lines basically is to be understood that you are not that, basically. So this is how understanding implies naturally the negation, because there is an error which is committed against oneself. So these verses are given by Acharya, made for that. And so first verse is Manobuddhya Hankara Chittani Naham Nacha Shrotra Jihve Nacha Ghrana Netre Nacha Vyoma Bhumir Na Tejo Na Vayuhu Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So, in fact, I have a question here. Why Acharya has to negate? He should tell you Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. Who am I? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. You are Shiva, you are Chidananda, etc. has to be told. You are not that, you are not that, you are not that. 3 lines in each verse. Unnecessary 6 into 3, 18 lines. You are not that, you are not that. I am asking you, who are you or who am I? You should tell you are this. That's enough. Why it is? Like if I ask you, what is table? And you say table is not a flask. Table is not a foot. Table is not a lamp. Table is not a microphone. You may feel, what is this? Right? We may feel, what is this? Why? Can any person give the answer? Suppose if I ask you what is table, I should tell table is like this. I have to define it. Instead saying table is not this, table is not this, table is not this. Suppose somebody is saying like that.
Because with this conception,
Absolutely. Wonderful. Because you have taken a given thing, not as it really is, but you have taken it differently. If you have taken, if a given thing is misconstrued, mistaken, then there is first thing is to be negated, right? And then what it is has to be true. So here there are 2 things. First is, you can see Manobuddhya Ahankara Chittani Naham. There is an entity called Naham. And in the 4th line, what is that? Chidananda Rupa Shivaha Aham. There is another entity called Aham. 2 entities are there. One is Aham, the other is a Naham. Aham means I, and Naham means non-I. So, Dvauhi Padarthau Atmanatmanau. They say like this. There are only 2 things actually. To say Atma is a thing is not fair, but take it right now. Padarthau, because Padartha means thing. So, there are only 2 things, and for which 2 words are there. One is I, word I, which has a certain meaning, we will see. And another is a non-I, also has a certain meaning. They are not meaningless words. And so, Acharya uses Naham and Aham. 2 things are there. In Sanskritam, of course, we are very safe. So, I am not, of course, a thing, but I am the meaning of the word I. And the other word is the meaning of the word non-I. Other is the meaning of the word non-I. So, it's perfect. And it seems that Vedanta says there are only 2 things. One is Aham, other is Naham. I, non-I. There is no third thing. Dvauhi Padartha. The he stands for indeed. There are only 2 things. Only, indeed. So, I, whatever that I means, then the I refers to something. What is that, we will see later. And what is not covered by the word I in a meaning, is non-I. And so the book is what? Either I or non-I. Book is book. This book is non-I. This watch is non-I. This table is non-I. Microphone is non-I, etc. This lamp is non-I. So like that, sun is non-I. We can go. We have to cover non-I means how many things? Sun is non-I. Moon is non-I. Stars are non-I. So basically, moon is I, well, then I become loony also. So therefore, so that's nice. I am not moon, I am not a loony also. Moon brings, you know that all these things. Anyway, so all the planets are non-I. So whole solar system is covered. All the constellation galaxies are also non-I. And therefore, anything that may exist which I don't know, well, is also non-I. Anything that may exist which I don't know also is non-I. And, well, all that I know, other than whatever I know as myself, is also non-I. Can I repeat? All that I know, other than whatever I know as myself, is also non-I. Is it clear? And therefore, there is no third thing. Swami, you are wrong. God. God is the third thing. We have to discuss now. So basically, God is a third object. If it is a third object, it is non-I or I? Non-I. Wonderful. Because there are only two. One is I, and so all that whatever is not covered by the meaning of the word I is all non-I. God can be included. Therefore, God should be what? Non-I. So, if God is different from you, then God is also non-I. Okay, wonderful. But Swamiji, it is whatever, if God is other than me, it is non-I. But if I say what is non-I is not God, then I am God. Because non-I means world. Flask also is non-I. And you say God also is non-I, means we put God into the category of a flask. We have put the God into the category of scorpion also, because it's also non-I. No, Swamiji, that's not fair. We should not put it in category of non-I. Then you should put in the category of what? I. There are only two things. If God is I, then definitely it's an extra meaning of the word I. Because I means I know very well. I am a Swami Muktatmananda. I am a human being. This. Now you say God is I. Means I have to accommodate that meaning also in the meaning of the word I. It doesn't fit. Because I am an individual with a limited power, limited knowledge, etc. God is all knowing, all power, cannot fit here. So, God cannot be I. I am an individual. God cannot be a non-I, the world, all these things. We cannot say. Then the third person says, well, it is fine. God is I and non-I also, both. Wow, that's something different. That's something different. Because generally these are the two categories. I, which is included by the meaning of, by the word I as a meaning, is something. What is there, we'll see. And other than that, everything is non-I. Another category. So what is non-I is basically, what is non-I, it cannot be I. What is I cannot be non-I. It's a category. Now if you say God is I and non-I both, in that case, God basically swallows both the categories. God swallows both the categories. God is a common denominator in both. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. We are not going to see that, but well, that is the thing. It is to be analyzed later. So there is a certain, so let us leave it. And that's truth. God is everything we say. So there's subject, object, everything. So it's fine. But we are not going in that. Now, I and non-I, there is a certain analysis here and you have to give me some answers. This is how we will go. So, we need to we need to draw a line between I and non-I. And well, where does this line run? Whatever is, huh? No. Where does this line run between I and non-I? Is it a straight line? Do you think so? I and non-I, and between there is a straight line. Do you think so? Straight line? Why? Because basically this is the whole world, including I, right? Now, if you exclude I, everything is non-I. Now, it is, I should be taken away from this whole world. Then rest is a non-I. How will you take away? You have to take it away like you scoop ice cream from the, you have to take one piece of that ice cream, which is taken away. Rest, everything is left over. Same way the I means this. Rest of the thing is non-I. So it is not a straight line. Could you follow what I am saying? The line runs in the body, in anatomy, which is not a straight. In fact, my nose is little away. My tummy may be a little more away from them. So all this, it runs like this, and it goes up to the head. Okay, this is one. And whatever is there on the body is also I or non-I? Non-I. If I wear a ring, non-I. The shirt, non-I. Right? Shirt is also non-I. Bangle, non-I. In between the two fingers, non-I. That's how somebody shoots, and that bullet passes through between two fingers. The person says, I'm saved. So in between also I is not there. So it's not a straight line. What I'm saying is, it's not a straight line. Could you follow? If a bullet passes near my nose, then also I'm saved. So I means it is just a anatomy. What is there? The dermis, and what is inside is all I. Rest everything is non-I. Wow, wonderful. So where does this non-I begin? I mean, where I ends, there the non-I begin. So this anatomical I ends at the top of my head, at the tip of my nose, or my belly, whichever is farther from me. So this is how I and non-I. Now, this non-I, basically naham, we refer as a idam pratyaya vishaya. This non-I is basically referred by this cognition, this pot, right? This flask, this watch, this microphone, all non-I. So we always refer non-I by idam pratyaya vishaya. Vishaya means say object. Idam pratyaya. Idam means this. Pratyaya means cognition. We always refer to any non-I as this cognition. This cognition. It's an object of this cognition. So, and basically, so that's how this sun, this moon, this Jupiter, etc., etc. So when you say this flower, there is a cognition of or knowledge of a flower. Idam pratyaya vishaya. And this flower cognition goes away, something else of non-I comes, basically. And who has this cognition? I has this cognition. So basically this is aham pratyaya vishaya. Whatever may be the object of I cognition is I, and whatever is the object of this cognition is non-I. That's it. Whatever is the object of this cognition is non-I. Whatever is the object of I cognition, we'll be seeing that is I, meaning of I. Very wonderful. And so, basically, what do you identify as object of this cognition? You can refer to anything. What do you identify as object of I cognition, I knowledge? What do you identify? Well, so I mean, it is simple. It is the body. Because when the body is sitting, I say I am sitting. When the body is standing, I am standing. When the body is tall, I am tall. And body is short, I am short. Body is black, I am black. Body is white, I am white. Therefore, I am the object of eye cognition, and that object is nothing but a body only. I means this body. Not you shouldn't include this. So, is it merely body? No. Whatever the body has also is me. What are the things body has? Well, body has, it's a live body, it has 5 senses, it has also organs of action, it has a mind, it has 5 pranas, and so all this is me. So my question is, how do you know all these are me? How do you know all these are me? Well, after all, how do you know you have a body? How do you know you have a mind? How do you know you have senses? How do you know you have hunger, thirst, etc.? How do you know? You say, I am all this. Fine. How do you know they are there? Swamiji, I know them. I know them. Please understand what I am saying. The way I know this watch, I say I know the body. I know the senses. Let us take an example. How do you know the body is tall? Or how do you know you are tall? That's better. How do you know you are tall? Because other day I measured my height. My height means what? Body's height. Somebody said, when I asked the question, how do you know you are tall? He says, I am a basketball player, therefore I am tall. What are you talking? I am a basketball player, therefore you are tall? Or you measured your height and you know your height. You know your height means you know the body's height. Then only you are able to say you are tall. You cannot say otherwise. Could you follow what I am saying? So if you know the body is tall, body is object of knowledge or body is I? Simple. Could you follow what I am saying? If there is a tall tree and you know the tall tree, if I say knowing the tall tree, can you say you are tall? He said, why should I say? It is the tree that is tall, not I am tall. So it is the body that is tall. Why do you say I am tall? Well, he says, I do not know. Yeah. And generally people here says by shrugging the shoulders. Shrugging the shoulders indicate 3 things. I don't know, 1, or I need not know, 2nd, or well, it also can mean I need to know, either of this. When you shrug the shoulder, that I don't know why I take this body which is an object of knowledge as I don't know. Anyway, so I never take your body as my body, and so it is non-I. My world definitely includes your body, and I am aware your world includes my body. Not only does my world includes your body, my world includes my body also. So it is object of knowledge, very well. Then how come my body is, when it is sitting, I say I am sitting. There is a special relationship between this body and I compared to the other, this body and I. Special relationship. Like there are thousands of houses here. Not all houses are my houses. One of the houses is my house. There are thousands of people. One of them will be your mother. Right? Many women. One of them is your mother. Special relationship. Same way, thousands of bodies are there. You cannot say, these are all my bodies. With this body, you can say, it is my body. It's my body. And you say also, my body, that kind of expression you do also. So, but the fundamental thing is, what is mine is never me. That's it. Give me one example where mine is me. Give one example. What is mine is me. Give me one. You say my eyes also, my head, my body, my hunger, my thirst. Have you used this kind of expression? Yeah. And sometimes you say, I am sitting. I am standing, I am seeing. So you have basically what is basically mind, you use it also. Sometimes you say I also, indicating what? Confusion. Confusion between I and non-I. What is mine? Definitely there is a special relationship, as I told you. But in a relationship there are at least two things. My car, definitely two things. Myself who is the owner and my car. My house, right? My house, my specs, all. So definitely you have a certain relationship. A relationship is not possible without at least two things. So when you say my body, definitely you are related to the body in some manner, but you are not the body. So basically, when you say my memory, my emotions, we use it all, my mind, right? And sometimes you say I am the mind, I am angry, I am this, etc. What is mine is not me. If you find a single example, please let me know tomorrow. What is mine can never be. What is mine is me. If you find an example, please let me know. Not a single example. My house, my this, my bank balance, my money, definitely. But definitely you are not currency notes, you are not the bills, dollar bills. Not a single example. Only for the body we do that. That reveals a certain confusion. Vedanta addresses this. In fact, this is the only issue. If this issue is solved, there is nothing better life other than human life, I tell you. It's a beauty. This is the only issue. Only. I will prove it later. Only issue. A confusion between I and non-I. House is definitely, even though it is your house, it is non-I. You are owner. I. We can take that example that way. So body, etc., body, mind, senses, all pranas, everything. Well, so if house is under repair, no one will say, well, I am under repair. My house is, needs repair means it's like a body. Body needs repair. When body needs a repair, body is ill, we say, I am ill. Atma is, so Atma is never ill, but you say. In fact, I am ill bring more illness. Body is ill. But when you say I am ill, that brings also certain illness, pain in the mind. Yeah. People ask this question. If you study Vedanta, the person will never get illness. That is not going to happen. Yeah. Prarabdha will bring anything. But over and above certain physical pain, person has a mental agony. That is the only address here. Bhagavad Gita also addresses the same thing. Ashocyananda shochastam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gatasumscha. You are grieving for something which you should not grieve. That's a grief is an issue. Physical pain is not an issue. Physical pain brings a certain grief in the mind. Mental agony. That's the issue. That comes only by identification. Otherwise it won't. But anyway, so if I identify this as a physical body, or I am equated to this body, or body is equated to I, definitely there is a confusion. This confusion is negated in first 3 lines of every verse. And the confusion is, but Swamiji, it should be negated only in one verse. Why there are 5 more verses for verse negation? Well, because this confusion is at not just at a one level, etc. There are levels and levels of confusion. Levels and levels. And therefore, all our levels of experience reveal, the self which is confused. And so, centered on self, there is a lot of confusion. So, a correction at every level is necessary. And therefore, these verses reveal, basically, that there is a confusion. Negation indicates that there is a confusion. You have mistaken, you have basically misconstrued yourself. So that is being negated. And so, basically, when you need to grasp and understand this kind of a fact, a reality which is misconstrued, etc., The process of inquiry, we call it as a Viveka Jnanam. V plus which dhatu is there means to separate. What is one thing is taken as something else. So here it is a Viveka Jnanam because it's at the level of a mind, basically. I mean, it's a level of a knowledge. It's a cognitive, and therefore there is no physical kind of a separation here, because already Atma is everything, but you have misconstrued yourself as just a body, etc. And therefore that is the Viveka Jnanam, just by the inquiry, etc. Two facts will continue to remain the same as they were before, and there is no more a confusion. And best example they give, 2-3 examples are there how for this Viveka. The very germane example is a example of a crystal. A crystal which appears, suppose, red, right? But you don't know it, that it appears red. You think it is a red stone, some semi-precious stone or a precious stone. And in your presence itself, that red stone becomes an orange stone, suppose. Or it becomes a green stone. Then basically there is a smile on your face. Yeah. What is that smile? What is that smile? That smile is nothing but your crystal clear understanding that it is nothing but a crystal. Your understanding is no more colored, that it is a colored stone. Could you follow what I am saying? When it changes color, you understand it is not a red stone. If it is a red stone, it cannot become green stone. So it is not a semi-precious stone, etc. It's due to something which is in the vicinity, the crystal which is colorless appear as red, green, etc. Crystal remaining as a crystal, that's a wonderful thing. Crystal remaining as a colorless crystal appear due to certain flower or whatever. This kind of a, even cloth also, the crystal may appear as an orange also. So basically, so no matter in what form the crystal appear, the crystal continues to be the crystal in your head. And this is called Viveka Jnanam. Outside, even though it is changing color, etc., in your mind now you have a crystal clear understanding about crystal, that it is a crystal alone. So with this called a Viveka Jnana. Now there is another example where externally what you perceive doesn't change. Yet you will do this inquiry and get a knowledge of a reality. And the example is a sun rising in the eastern sky. Every day it rises in the eastern sky. There will not be any change. Here the crystal is changing color. And so you understood that it is really not a semi-precious stone or a precious stone, but it is a crystal. But there are things which do not undergo any change perceptually. Yet you will understand, it will gain the clarity of a certain understanding, etc. How? Well, the sun rising in the eastern sky. It's a naked eye perception. This phenomena is everyday phenomena also, that sun rises in the eastern sky, travel during the day and sets in a west, etc. The sun doesn't travel. Sun doesn't have a motion at all. The sun doesn't have a motion, yet definitely we superimpose the motion of the earth on the sun. And therefore, the thing which is stationary appears as with motion, and the thing which is in motion appears as a stationary. So this kind of a confusion is there. So if you study science, now even though externally there will not be a change, but you know in your understanding that cognitively you know it, that definitely sun doesn't rise in the eastern sky at all, right? Sun doesn't rise. So the knowledge would be the sun doesn't rise, even though it appears to rise. So the stars also don't disappear, even though they appear to disappear, but they really don't appear, disappear, etc. They are all the time there. Amazing thing. What Vedanta is going to prove, for which you have the world as an example. All the time, every day, suppose you are living near a seashore, you see every day, all the days in your life, every day, the ocean appears blue. You think ocean every day same, but there will not be any perceptual change. In case of crystal, you have understood because there is a perceptual change, and you understood no. If it is a red stone, it cannot become orange or green. It was changing color. Perceptual, there will be a difference, but here there is no difference. But still, if you study science, you will understand that this blue color basically it's due to sunlight, etc., and it has a short wavelength, etc., so it gets refracted, spread, etc. So all this thing, or the sky also, sky appears blue. It's also the same example. So anyway, and even the moon appears to wane and wax, etc. It's also, there is nothing like waxing and waning of the moon. So all this example indicates that even perceptually there will not be any change. Naked eye perception remains same, experience remains same, yet you do prathakkaranam. You do a viveka that really speaking it is not like that. Definitely the sun doesn't rise, sun doesn't have a motion, and the earth has a motion, and basically the motion of the earth is superimposed there. In case of a crystal, of course, there is a flower, etc., or a cloth, etc. The color of the cloth is superimposed there in the crystal, and so it appears. But there it is perceptual change, and you have understood. But here, perceptually, there will not be difference. But yet, you will understand that what you experience and what your knowledge is entirely opposite thing. You experience a blue ocean, but there is no blue ocean. You experience a sunrise, there is no sunrise. You experience a appearance and disappearance of the stars. There is no appearance and disappearance of the stars. Am I right or wrong? You experience a waning and waxing of the moon. There is no waning and waxing of the moon. Could you follow what I am saying? So all is experience. Same way. Swamiji, your Vedanta is a humbug. I said, why? See, it's everyone's experience. Everyone's experience in this world, whoever is born, billions of people, no one for the sake of even saying I am a consciousness. Everyone says what? I am body. How can you say it is wrong? It's everyone's experience. If just because everyone experiences one thing, therefore it is reality, need not be the case. Everyone experiences blue ocean. Therefore, blue ocean is a reality. Ocean is blue is a reality. Need not be. Everyone experiences, right? Even, our all this, whatever, your eyes basically report are definitely wrong. You see a big tree. You are going away from that big tree. It looks like a shrub now. It looks like a shrub. Maybe 100 feet, maybe like a redwood tree kind of a thing. If you just go away, well, it appears like a shrub. Whatever your eyes report, perception, experience, is a reality, need not be. Reality is, in fact, opposite to what you experience. Opposite. Movement of sun. There is no movement of sun. Earth is stationary. Right now it's moving at the speed. My God, what a speed of earth. No one feels. No one feels. Entire humanity says the earth is stationary. Wrong. Entire humanity. No one say earth is moving. We know and so we may say, but otherwise, experientially. If we just go by experience, everyone's experience, I am the body. Therefore, it is a reality that I am the body. Need not be. The reality is just opposite. That I am free from the body. We have to see that, but I am just giving you a certain example. All these examples, basically, you know all this, and therefore, we can say knowledge is quite different from your perception or from experience. Anyway, so the appearance of a sunrise, etc., that's what I was telling you. Vedanta never dismisses any experience. We definitely assimilate experience. We analyze the experience, give you the knowledge, and thereby we accommodate the experience. Could you follow what I am saying? We accommodate. We don't say perceptually there is no sunrise, perceptually there is no waxing and waning of the moon, perceptually there is no blue ocean. We don't deny it. But just because you perceive blue ocean, therefore there is a blue ocean really. Wow. Science comes to the picture and says it is not true. That's what I am saying. Here also, our science is this. Vedanta comes into, analyze our own experience and tell you, even though your experience is that I am body, but the reality is quite different. You are consciousness, etc. We have to see that. So, this is how basically, experience is not denied and it is accommodated and also analyzed properly and gave you the understanding also. Now, we have to go further. Now, when you see me, because ultimately we have to see who is this I, which is what is the meaning of the word I. We said body, we cannot be, because body is an object of knowledge, hunger, thirst is object of knowledge, etc. But that we have to analyze and see it. Now, when you see me here, there is a perception in you. Swami is, right? And if you don't perceive me, please listen carefully. If you don't perceive me, don't perceive means if you have not opened your eyes, and suppose I am not speaking anything, and you are not seeing me also, and you are quite there, you are not touching me also, how will I prove, how will this Swami proves his existence to you? You are not seeing me, you are not touching me, I am not speaking anything, so that you are not hearing me. Otherwise you can prove, oh, Swami is speaking, therefore he is there, right? But suppose I am not speaking also, you are sitting there, not touching me, not seeing me, and therefore from your part you are not doing anything. How will this Swami proves his existence in this hall to you? What do you think?
The Swami cannot do anything. The person has to make the effort to see.
Yeah. So basically, if you don't operate your eyes, ears, etc., well, then in that case, you are not going to know that Swami is sitting here. The only way is to open the eyes, basically, and oblige, and your eyes definitely must have the power to see, and also the body, my body is lighted, otherwise also you cannot see. But then, so the Swami, well, cannot prove his existence to you unless you operate a means of knowledge, perception, sensory, etc. So, other than that, well, I cannot prove my existence. And it is not a simple thing, it goes a very long way, far-fetching consequences it has. Like a second example is, a sound may be there, definitely, but it is, suppose if it is not heard, like suppose, here there are many forests, in our Pennsylvania also there are many forests, and whenever the rain falls, some trees fall. And whenever tree falls, huge trees, and pine tree or anything, when they fall, they make a sound, right? But suppose you are not in the vicinity, no human being is there, then can you say a tree, a tree has fallen, but sound is there? Can you say that? Suppose now some animals might have heard. Suppose animals are also not there. Maybe a bear or something, they are also not there. Tree has fallen, and still the sound will not be there. Can you say? Sound is there. Can you say, or you cannot say? Could you follow what I am saying? But Swamiji, it cannot be. A tree falls, and there will be some sound. Now, perception-wise, you have not heard. No one has heard. How will you prove the existence of a sound of a fallen tree? Means there was no sound. There will not be. There was no sound.
Prior experience.
Eh?
Prior experience.
Something is going closer. Perception, one of the means of knowing that there is a sound. Like I told you, Swami is because you have opened the eyes, or you have heard my voice. Perception. Sensorily you have known that Swami is. Existence of Swami is proven to you. You have used your perception, senses. Now, you have not, since you are not in a vicinity, you have not heard the sound. in the forest of a fallen tree? Wonderful. So, based on your previous experience, either in a movie or somewhere, or you might have heard from somebody that whenever a tree falls, there will be a sound. Based on that, now you infer. There is another, it's a means of knowledge. So, if perception is not there, you have to use another means of knowledge to prove that the existence of the sound. So, that shows what? Definitely, well, any fact existed, any fact is, or any fact will be. Like when weather, after in the weekend there will be a rain, existence of the rain. You forecast now of the future rain based on certain perceptual data, right? And use the inference, etc. So, any fact existed, any fact is, or any fact will be, is based on a means of knowledge used by you. So, basically, so you can never say a thing exists or existed or will exist without a means of knowledge. Without a means of knowledge, a thing existed or exists or will exist, you can never say. Either you use a perception, either use an inference, presumption, etc. You have to use a means of knowledge. Either a senses, senses plus mind or just mind. Right? Inference. Without that, you cannot establish the existence of a given thing. This is regarding all non-I am talking. Non-I. You are establishing the existence of a non-I. You are establishing the existence of the world using means of knowledge. Some means of knowledge. So, either through direct perception it is, or you can say, well, indirectly from the perceptual data, you arrive at a conclusion that it was, or it is, or it will be. All this is with reference to all the things we perceive. Even the establishing the existence of a light coming from a certain star, which is 12 billion light years away. Really. What is that telescope they have found now? James Webb. James Webb. One scientist, he said, I am seeing a light now in that telescope whose source is some star in the universe, which is 12 billion light years. If I say, you will say this Muktatma is a crazy guy. But scientists saying 12 billion light years away. 12 billion light years means one light year means the distance travelled by light in 1 year. The light ray travels at the speed of 1,86,000 miles per second. So, it has travelled for 1 year, you can think of, and like that 12 billion. What a universe. That person is seeing this light right now here in this telescope, whose light is coming, where even at that time even the sun and the earth etc. was also not there. Amazing. So, he is seeing in the past, he is establishing something, establishing the existence of something which is of the past, remote past. Amazing thing. Through the means of knowledge, of course. Eyes and then other things, of course. So hero of all this kind of knowledge, any knowledge, is you. Hero of any knowledge, this kind of a knowledge or any knowledge is you. You are the only hero. You should feel good about it. You are the only hero and everything else is an object of knowledge. Space. You establish the existence of a space, right? Through mind, not that I perceive the space. You establish the existence of a time. There are concepts of time through the mind. You establish the existence of anything in this universe All is object of knowledge. You are the only hero who uses different means of knowledge to establish its existence. You are the only hero. And you are the only one who is like yourself. You are the only one who is like yourself. I am not saying your DNA is very peculiar, your earlobes are very peculiar, etc. I am not saying like that. You are peculiar, but you establish. Remember me, tomorrow we are going to see more. You establish the existence of the entire universe. Entire universe, including space and time. Samaji, what are you discussing? I am discussing Chidananda only, right now. So, basically, you establish the existence of everything. That way, I am saying you are very peculiar. So, I am not talking from the standpoint of your DNA or etc. I am talking basically about the locus of this word I. The meaning of word I is this unique hero. Who is this? We have to see that. How Chidananda, etc. So, now in English, basically you see that. How I am unique. Even languages prove Vedanta. When you use any pronoun means proxy noun. You need not use a noun, you use a proxy. You use a pronoun called he. How many people you can refer? All men. When you use he can refer to he. I mean, so, and when I use a she, any woman, any number of women I can refer. Any woman I can refer. Right? So this pronoun basically he, she, etc. definitely stand for any male, female, etc. And when I use a pronoun you also can be referred for any person here. You, etc. Could you follow? So, all word you also I can use for anybody. So, I mean for the word you, there are many number of people to be referred by that word. But when there is another pronoun called I, the first person. How many persons can you refer by the word I? For he, any male. For she, any woman or female. For you, for I, only you. Only you. But Swamiji, all will say I, then many. Still, every I refers to only one person. That's how I say you are a unique person, basically. There cannot be more than one I. So, what you objectify is not I, basically. Swamiji, he says I. When you objectify it is for you, it is non-I, okay? What you objectify is non-I. But when you say I, you refer to only yourself. So, the one who objectifies is referred by the word I. And the only one who objectifies well is you, referred by the word I. There is no second I. Yeah. Any person who uses word I will refer to just himself. Unlike other pronouns, he, she, it. It also refers to any object. Yeah, I forgot. He, she, it. It refers to any object. You, all. But I refer to only one. Amazing thing. So, you are a very peculiar person. Who is this I? We have to see that. Anyway, so there is only one I in this world, and that is you, and everything else is object of I. And the object of I comes to light, comes to be known through means of knowledge, through eyes, ears, and even including mind also, or just mind, inference, etc. Just mind. So, mind and senses, with the help of that, you establish the existence of the entire creation, including space and time. And who establishes your existence? If you understand the answer, the fear of death will ever go away. That's it. Who establishes the existence of you? I. Who establishes the existence of I? Well, think of. No, Swamiji, there is an I. is known by another eye. You will say, then this eye becomes what? Non-eye. And then who established the existence of the other eye? Second eye. There is something which is self-existent, which never becomes non-existent, never goes to death. Understanding of this gives understanding of Chidananda. We have to discuss that. It's a little bigger topic, we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.